The Museum of London, grand, imposing, home to history's treasures. Tonight, it hosted a glittering gala. Beneath the shimmering chandeliers, socialites mingled. Their jewels sparkled, but none as bright as the Eye of Orion. A diamond of unparalleled brilliance, it was the museum's prized possession. Then, darkness. A gasp rippled through the crowd as the lights went out. Panic swelled, then subsided as the lights flickered back on. But something was wrong. Terribly wrong. The Eye of Orion was gone, vanished into thin air. The scene was chaotic. Whispers turned to shouts. Accusations flew like daggers in the dark. The Eye of Orion, once the center of admiration, was now the center of a crime scene. Only one thing was certain: this was no ordinary robbery. Detective Inspector Mallory arrived, a man of quiet intensity. His eyes, sharp as a hawk's, scanned the scene. A slight frown etched itself on his face, a sure sign of his active mind at work. His reputation preceded him, brilliant, relentless, and with an uncanny knack for cracking the most baffling cases.
A theft as bold as this requires meticulous planning, Inspector Davies.
His assistant, a young man eager to prove himself, nodded, scribbling furiously in his notebook.
Secure the scene. No one leaves until I've spoken to them.
The initial investigation yielded few clues. The security footage, frustratingly, was tampered with during the blackout. No fingerprints, no forced entry, nothing. It was as if the thief had vanished into thin air, taking the diamond with them. The pressure mounted. The media had a field day, the public was in an uproar, and the museum's director was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Mallory, however, remained calm, his mind a fortress of logic amidst the storm.
The fingerprints, Inspector Davies. What about the guest list?
Davies, looking slightly flustered, stammered.
We're still cross-referencing, sir. It's a lengthy process.
Mallory raised an eyebrow.
Speed is of the essence, Davies.
Days turned into nights. The investigation seemed to be hitting one dead end after another. The lack of evidence was baffling. Even the smallest shred of evidence felt like a victory. It was like chasing shadows, the thief always a step ahead. The guest list was a veritable who's who of London society. Wealthy collectors, envious rivals, even a disgraced diamond cutter with a score to settle. Mallory, with his sharp intuition, began to unravel the tangled threads of their lives, searching for the one that led to the Eye of Orion. Lady Cavendish, a prominent socialite with a penchant for precious stones, became a person of interest. Her alibi, flimsy at best, crumbled under Mallory's scrutiny. Then there was Mr. Hawthorne, a rival museum curator, rumored to be harboring a deep resentment towards the Museum of London. Each interview, each alibi checked, only deepened the mystery. The pressure was immense, but Mallory remained steadfast, his determination fueled by the belief that every crime, no matter how cleverly executed, leaves a trace. Section 5. The Elusive Alibi. Days turned into a week, the pressure mounting with each passing hour. Mallory, however, seemed to thrive under pressure. His mind, like a steel trap, held every detail, every inconsistency, every suspicious glance. He reviewed the evidence again and again, searching for the missing piece. One name kept resurfacing, a shadow lurking at the edges of the investigation. Alistair Sinclair, the museum's own curator of antiquities. Sinclair, a man of impeccable reputation and vast knowledge, had been instrumental in acquiring the Eye of Orion. His alibi? Airtight, or so it seemed. Sinclair, with his calm demeanor and genuine concern, had thrown Mallory off initially. But something about his eagerness to help, his detailed knowledge of the security systems, seemed off. Could this be the break Mallory had been waiting for? Section 6. A Glimmer of Hope. Mallory decided to pay Mr. Sinclair a visit at the museum. The halls, once bustling with visitors, were now eerily silent, the stolen diamond casting a long shadow. He found Sinclair in his office, surrounded by books and artifacts, a picture of scholarly serenity.
Detective Inspector, Sinclair greeted, a hint of surprise in his voice. To what do I owe the pleasure?
Just a few follow-up questions, Mr. Sinclair, Mallory replied, his eyes scanning the cluttered office. Your expertise has proven invaluable in this case. As Mallory subtly steered the conversation towards the night of the gala, a flicker of unease crossed Sinclair's face. He over-explained, contradicted himself on a minor detail about the security system. It was subtle, but for Mallory, it was enough. Section 7. The plot thickens. Mallory, sensing a breakthrough, decided to play his cards close to his chest. He thanked Sinclair for his time, leaving the curator with the unsettling feeling that he was under scrutiny. Back at Scotland Yard, Mallory delved deeper into Sinclair's background, and then he found it. A seemingly insignificant detail, a financial record buried deep in a database. Sinclair, despite his respectable position, was facing mounting debts, a gambling habit spiraling out of control. The motive was clear, but how? The pieces of the puzzle were finally falling into place. Sinclair, with his intimate knowledge of the museum's security system, could have easily orchestrated the blackout, disabling the cameras just long enough to make his move. But how did he spirit the diamond out from under everyone's noses? Section 8. A shocking revelation. Mallory called for Inspector Davies, his eyes gleaming with the thrill of the chase. "The answer, Davies," he declared, "has been staring us in the face all along." He pointed to a seemingly innocuous detail in the crime scene photos, a dropped champagne flute, its stem shattered. The thief used the gala itself as a cover, Mallory explained, his voice filled with excitement. During the blackout, while everyone was distracted, he used the broken stem of a champagne flute to cut a small, almost invisible hole in the display case. Sinclair, with his extensive knowledge of gemstones, would have known exactly where to strike to create the illusion of the diamond vanishing. He could have easily concealed the Eye of Orion on his person, walking out of the museum amidst the chaos. Section 9. The Mastermind Unmasked. Mallory, armed with this newfound knowledge, paid Sinclair another visit. He confronted him with the evidence, laying out the meticulously constructed case against him. Sinclair, his composure finally cracking, confessed. Driven by desperation and fueled by a dangerous cocktail of pride and greed, he had concocted the audacious plan. He had underestimated Mallory's sharp mind and unwavering determination. A search warrant was swiftly obtained, and the Eye of Orion was recovered from a hidden compartment in Sinclair's study. The news spread like wildfire. The newspapers had a field day, hailing Mallory as a hero, a modern-day Sherlock Holmes. Section 10. Justice Served. The trial was a media spectacle. Sinclair, stripped of his respectability, was found guilty and sentenced to a lengthy prison term. The Eye of Orion, its brilliance undimmed, was returned to its rightful place in the Museum of London. As for Detective Inspector Mallory, he remained unchanged by the accolades. He knew that beneath the veneer of civilization, darkness lurked, and it was his duty to stand guard, a silent sentinel protecting the innocent from the wicked. The case of the stolen Eye of Orion was a stark reminder that appearances could be deceiving, and even the most trusted individuals could harbor dangerous secrets. And in the heart of it all stood Detective Inspector Mallory, a beacon of justice in a world teetering on the edge of chaos.